I don't often say I told you so, so you'll forgive me on this occasion, but I told you so. Prince Harry has opened himself up to a potential world of trouble with his openness about the use of drugs in his memoirs and in the latest online therapy session. In this video posted a month ago, thereabouts, which got 262,000 views, thank you all very much for that, I talked about Harry's openness with the use of drugs in his memoir Spare and suggested that it might lead to a world of trouble because of his immigration status, because he's required in his application to declare not whether he's been convicted, but whether he's ever broken any of those regulations with respect to the use of drugs. Now, as it's reported in GB News, this is my immediate reaction to the news. I'll link this in the description below. It appears that he might be the subject of a new court battle, meaning he might not be sued directly, but he might well be called upon as a witness, or there may be further action taken against him. But it's reported that American think tank is planning, at least, or considering to sue the US government over his immigration files to confirm whether or not he admitted and declared what he has now admitted to, his past illegal use of drugs on his visa application. The Heritage Foundation has been calling for Washington to release the Duke of Sussex paperwork over the last few months, as it demands to know whether he has made the confession ahead of his move to California in 2020. As I said previously, this could have a significant impact on his immigration status. He has admitted in his book Spare to the use of marijuana, magic mushrooms and cocaine, etc., in various different lights. Now, all of which I obviously don't support, and I would urge you to take your own independent views on all of that. The think tank has asked to know whether he has been properly vetted before entering the United States, adding that the request is in the public interest in light of potential revocation of his visa for illicit substance use and further questions regarding his drug use. Applicants who admit to previous use of narcotics are generally denied entry to the US, as immigration lawyers have also said, as I said previously in my other video, which I will also link in the description below. As it also references the former federal prosecutor who said that an admission of drug use is essentially grounds for being inadmissible for immigration. The article also says, as I said in my previous video, that in theory he could be barred from applying for citizenship or even deported if he's found to have failed to disclose any of this past use, which may, as I say, affect his current status and whether he's allowed freely in and out of the United States. The article refers again to sources that have told the Daily Telegraph that he had previously been truthful on his application, so that would suggest that he has declared such previous use on his previous application, which, albeit, would generally be grounds for denying entry. If he has declared that, then clearly wasn't grounds in that particular case. We won't know unless this action gets off the ground to take a closer look at those documents. US State Department spokesman also recently said visa records are confidential to Section 222 of the Immigration and Nationality Act. Therefore, we cannot discuss the details of individual cases. However, the Heritage Foundation has ramped up efforts to ensure transparency is brought into this conversation, and they've obviously been approached for comment. So, as I said in my previous video, this could cause a world of trouble if indeed he's failed to disclose any of this information on his application, because that would mean that he's been untruthful, because he's now published all of that information in his book Spare. On the other hand, if he has declared all of this within his application, that raises further questions as to why he's been allowed entry when perhaps many other people haven't, given the fact that whilst he is a member of the royal family, but has, for the most part at least, given up official working royal status and instead decided to move to the United States. So doubtless there'll be a lot of people who would not take kindly to immigration officials overlooking such admissions on an application to allow him entry when perhaps others have been declined, even without conviction, where they've perhaps been open and openly admitted that they've previously used certain substances, but nonetheless been denied. I suspect those people would not be happy in this situation if they've been denied, whereas Harry's has been overlooked. On the other hand, he may well have just not included any of that information on there at all, in which case he's failed to declare that information, and then it would be down to an assessment as to whether or not that is sufficiently serious to revoke his visa status or to look into it further for any further entry or egress from the United States. A very interesting unfolding story here. The interests of transparency and in terms of justice, a lot of people will be interested in this one to follow this. So this is my immediate reaction to this story as I just read it this morning. I will link it along with my previous video in the description below. Leave me your thoughts, comments. Do you think that it's right if he's admitted or any of these things on his application that they've been overlooked? Or on the other hand, if he's failed to declare them, what do you think should happen? Now, I'm not here to make judgment as to whether or not there's an automatic decision that should be made one way or another. Every case should be looked at on their own merits and by the officials who are in charge of those applications, and indeed in an ongoing status. So let me know what you think. Make sure you like this video and subscribe. And as always, thank you for watching.